Let me tell you about Frontier Pilot Simulator. A couple of days ago I received an email offering me a review key of an indie game called Frontier Pilot Simulator. It's nice to have such things happen to me because it's extremely flattering, because I have a tiny YouTube following and I play Star Citizen as a space sim. And out of the blue, an indie game developer offers me an opportunity to review its game. Sure thing, let's have a look. So there you have it, that's my experience with Frontier Pilot Sim. I've been GTDae, the average Joe gamer, and well, okay, let's give it a bit of a fair shake. I'm GTDae, the average Joe gamer, and this is my thoughts on Frontier Pilot Simulator. Before we start, let's just make a few things clear. I am no gaming journalist or professional reviewer by any stretch. I'm an average Joe, everyday gamer, so take my thoughts as just that. So, without further ado, let's jump into Frontier Pilot Simulator. According to the Steam page, Frontier Pilot Simulator is an environment-centered single-player vehicle sim combining the skill-based flying system with a story-driven economic progression system. Your piloting expertise will be constantly challenged by the world while it unfolds before you. It is an early access game, and as such it is a work in progress. That means everything is subject to change. They're comparing it to a mix between Euro Truck Simulator and Elite Dangerous. This is already a little bit outside my interest because in my view they are both extremely boring games. But to be fair to the game, I did give it a go. When you start the game you get a basic ship. It's tiny with 2 engines and it reminds me of the Orcas from the Command & Conquer series. You can carry some passengers, small loads of cargo, and basically traverse the tiny little island we start on. So the first thing I want to look at is the controls. I am a keyboard and mouse player and the learning curve for this game with keyboard and mouse is a bit steep. The controls are very simple. Spacebar is used to start the engines, take off, and for vertical thrust. W and S is for going forwards and backwards as per usual, A and D is for strafing left and right as per usual, and Q and E is for your motion left and right. As for the mouse, there is no direct control input for the mouse. That is probably my main criticism at the moment. I miss being able to use the mouse to point my ship in the direction I want to go, complemented by keyboard controls. You can lock your upward thrusters to full with the X key, but then you are constantly increasing altitude when you let everything go. With this control scheme, you are constantly tapping on the movement keys to fight inertia. As a Star Citizen player, I'm a little spoiled because the thrusters are automatic and will keep you in the air. But in Frontier Pilot, you manually control your lift and movement in all axes. One of the features they pride themselves on is the dynamic weather effect. There is constantly wind blowing and it tends to change quickly, so that does keep you on your toes. That just adds to the frantic tapping of keys while you fight gravity and inertia. Add a heavy cargo box to that and it is a recipe for some soul-crushing crashes. The next thing I'll be looking at is progression. There is a very basic upgrade system and the first ship can upgrade its engines and its chassis. Soon after that you can buy a new ship that is slightly bigger with 4 engines and a much longer range. With that extra range you can travel to a new island that is a bit off in the distance. The trouble is getting that new ship in the air and flying. The 4 engines seem to be not quite strong enough to carry the weight of the ship, and a slight bump to the ground or a building and they are broken. then you might as well forget to go back to the hangar for repairs. Next, let's look at the gameplay. There are two main gameplay loops in Frontier Pilot Sim. One is cargo hauling and the other is passenger shuttling. Cargo is simple. You check the locations on the map to see what they have available to buy and what they need. You then go to a landing pad, buy the commodity and fly to the corresponding location, land on their landing pad and sell that. Passenger shuttling is just as simple. You'll see passengers are available at the location on the map. When you go to the location, you'll see a passenger icon. Simply land and open your hatch to pick up the passenger, fly to his requested destination, land and open the hatch again. The passengers get in and out on their own. The passengers will reward you in credits based on how they experience the ride. So get them there as quickly and as smoothly as you can. I really haven't progressed very far, so I haven't found anything really resembling a storyline. You're also given some easy missions to complete. Things like fly over there, pick up this and take it there, or buy this item and deliver it over there, or pick up that passenger at that location. You also get a simple mission to upgrade your ship or later on to buy a new ship. These missions show up with yellow waypoints in the HUD and they're automatically complete. Unfortunately, there's no quest log to track your progress in mission chains. The HUD is very busy with what seems like a lot of info. That could be a bit overwhelming at the start, but as you get into the game, all that fades into your peripheral because you concentrate so much on keeping your ship in the air. So those are some of the facts of the game. Let's move on to the conclusion and see what I really think about this game. From my limited time in the game, I'd say there is potential. As long as they work on the game's shortcomings, it might find a spot in this niche market type. The controls do need to be fleshed out and fine-tuned, especially for keyboard users. I think playing this one with analog controllers will be beneficial. The storyline needs some attentions and players need to be introduced to it from the start. Maybe the story can be worked into a tutorial in the future. The game is a work in progress and it is quite obvious. I will be keeping an eye on the progress as I'm interested to see where they go with it, especially in regards with the controls. If the controls are sorted out, it will go a long way to make it more popular. Until then, I will reserve my judgment. If you're watching this video on the day of the release, the 15th of March 2018, you have 2 days to pick this up for 20% off in the Steam store until the 17th of March 2018. You can find the links to the game's Steam page in the description. I've been GTDae, the Average Joe Gamer, and this was my first impressions of Frontier Pilot Simulator. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up below and a thumbs down if you didn't. If you have any thoughts on Frontier Pilot Simulator, tell me about it in the comments and I might address it in a future video. Check the video description for my social media links and follow me there for more content. I will also massively appreciate it if you would support me on Patreon, and thanks to those of you who are already doing so, you are absolute heroes. Another way of supporting me is by visiting my merch store at designbyhumans.com/shop/GTDae. And as always, remember to stay awesome and I will see you in the next one.